This is Matt Pearce. Jesus Christ gave us the goals, but Gandhi gave us the tactics. Hello everyone, this is Matt Pearce again, and today we've got a new person with us, Simon Lee Kaho, who many of you would have heard of actually, who's also got a show on this radio station as well. But perhaps you could introduce and tell the wider audience and the people listening from abroad who you are,
Sure,
a bit about your background.
It's great to be here. I've never dreamed of co-hosting a show with the Spider-Man. So it's my great honor indeed. You have a red hat with you on today too.
That's right, actually. But I'll take that off, actually.
Yes. No. That reminds me of the Spider-Man episode. Yes, I am Simon Lee Kaho. I used to be a political talk show host in Toronto. So I am used to stirring political controversy on airwaves. And that's why my radio is a very good fit in Hong Kong.
Right.
And you are a radical guy, I know. So I hope there will be some chemistry.
Yeah, radical, quite radical for Hong Kong. Maybe not for my country, but yeah. So so you're going to be coming in, aren't you? Once every 2 months? Is that?
Well, once every month, or based on what you.
That's right.
As long as you invite me,
yeah.
I'm always
Okay.
available.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's always great in Hong Kong to co-host a show in English, because I think there are lots of topics that we are really, really sexy and spicy.
Right.
Like today we talk about a sexy story, I think.
That's right. That's exactly. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the sex scandal, if we can call it a sex scandal.
And the international audience, I think, there's a window for them to learn about what's going on in Hong Kong.
Yeah. And we've also got Ken, who's our
Hi, everyone.
coordinator, who's here today.
Yes, I would like to say thank you to Simon. Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure.
You make our show become more professional.
Come on. But it's really great. It was the first time I met Ken. He's a very, very gentle guy. And thanks again for your invitation as well.
Sometimes I could be very rough.
Okay, we'll have to see.
And we haven't got Dr. Chan here, unfortunately. He's going to be joining us next time. He's got a bit of a belly problem, hasn't he? The Delhi belly. He's sitting on the toilet probably at this very moment. So I spoke to him on the phone. He's feeling very unwell, but he's going to be hopefully coming next time, and he'll be regular. And hopefully you can come at least once a month. But
sure.
we're going to sort of rotate.
And we hope Dr. Chen will get well soon if he's tuning in right now.
Hopefully, yeah. But we want to get straight in, I think, on the juicy story of the that's going on in Hong Kong. We'll have to give we'll give a bit of background about it. We can't really call it a sex scandal, actually, because there was no real sex involved. But it was obviously sexual harassment involving, obviously it's big news because it's involving a lawmaker, a democratic lawmaker called Kam Nai-wai. Do you want to say a bit more about the background to our international audience about how it came out and quite what happened and so on?
Sure. Kam Nai-wai is a Democratic Party legislator for the Hong Kong island. Quite junior in the legislature, but he had been in local politics in the Hong Kong island for quite some time. And there have been reports during the weekend saying that Kam Nai-wai fired his assistant because he sort of expressed his love for her, but was refused, and that's why he fired her in return. So it was quite a dramatic story.
It is, yeah. And obviously, knowing how the media works in Hong Kong, they've blown it up into quite a big story here.
Exactly.
Isn't it? I mean, in some ways, it's a relatively minor incident. That he didn't actually touch her or put his hand on her bum or do anything, actually criminal, as it were. It would be very much a civil case if it goes to court, wouldn't it? But obviously, saying that, you could argue it is actually quite important because it involves a lawmaker, and because it involves abuse of power in the sense of if his assistant, as is alleged, lost her job as a result of it, that is actually quite serious, isn't it? It certainly affected her life in quite a big way. So in that regard, it is actually important, and obviously the media in Hong Kong are focusing big on it because, he is a lawmaker and he should be scrutinized in a lot of detail as a result of that.
Yes, that's right. And I mean, another issue has to do with integrity. I mean, after all, on Sunday, you have Kam Nai-wai hosting a press conference and denying media allegations that he had made offenses to his assistant. But yesterday, in a radio call-in show, immediately he said that he did tell his aide of his feelings for her.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too good. He's kind of changing his tune a bit as each day goes along. But that doesn't make him look too good, actually, in that regard. In some ways, he should have come out straight away, told the full,
exactly.
the story and exactly what happened. In some ways, doing a David Letterman, what he did, because obviously that's another big, much bigger sex scandal going on at the moment in America.
Or maybe Kam Nai-wai had read Bill Clinton too much, saying that, I've never had a relationship with that woman.
That's
but
right.
That can imply some other sort of relationship.
Yeah, and in some ways it can be better just to come out with a full story right from the start, actually, and say this is exactly what happened. But, I do, in some ways I feel a bit sorry for him, and obviously I feel sorry for the woman as well, but, suddenly having this, your personal life exploding in public knowledge and so on, it's not an easy situation for both of them. And obviously, let's face it, what he did wasn't. I wouldn't have said he was like a sexual predator or something like that. He was obviously emotionally quite fond of this lady, wasn't it? And I don't, obviously it's difficult to judge from the newspapers exactly what was going on between them. I don't know whether she's involved in someone else or married or whatever. So I don't know what her personal situation is. But obviously she felt perhaps it was because he was married and felt that she didn't want to get involved with him in any way.
And perhaps for religious reasons, because according to reports, the Kam Nai-wai's assistant was a very devoted Christian. And after all, to get involved in Hong Kong politics, I don't know your view on this, Matt, but always the moral high ground is expected that you should stand on moral high ground.
Absolutely, yeah.
Immediately, Kam Nai-wai, that's why when he held his press conference, he held his wife's hands very, very firmly, and sort of portray that his wife's fully support him. That's quite a case. I mean, in another scandal years ago, when another Legislative Council candidate of the Democratic Party, Ho Wai-to, was caught in the mainland of being involved, being caught with a prostitute. When he held his press conference in Hong Kong, he was holding his wife's hands again. It was quite tough for the wives of Democratic Party's lawmakers who always have to stand back behind them holding their hands. I don't know how to read it.
I mean it is interesting the way that wives behave, actually. I mean, if it was the other way round, if it was a female legislator and I don't quite imagine the male husband.
Because you can't imagine that, Matt, because before Emily Lau, there's virtually no women legislator in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's no examples.
I think Anson Chan did, when she was doing the election, her husband, it was the police senior management. Yes, and I think one of the election that the newspaper report that her husband did not support her. Yes, so
that's
maybe
right.
there's also some sort of.
You always have to get your family support in order to show that. I don't know about that, Matt, but what's your personal opinion? You've come from the UK. I mean, in terms of the moral high ground, I don't know. You have Jeffrey Archer, one of your favorite authors, got involved in something like this before. But I mean, what's your personal opinion in terms of that sort? Is it very Chinese or?
Yeah, I mean, I know enough about politics to know that when something happens like this, different parties in different social groups, often they like to seize or go for what they see as the moral high ground, don't they? And that's always what happens. But I think also you have to look at exactly what the law says, and sometimes what the law says and what morality says can be different, actually. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, actually. The big question is, should he resign, and also will he resign? And I would say if this happened in another country, perhaps in Europe or North America, I'm pretty sure that he probably wouldn't resign and probably wouldn't
survive.
I think he wouldn't resign, and